Our sisters and brothers continue doing us proud as they excel in their chosen careers. A Johannesburg architecture firm is led by a group of Muslims, and their work speaks volumes about who they are as people. Assalamu alaikum, you're watching An Nur the Light. Without further ado, let's hear from Sumaya about her love for architecture. For young Sumaya Valley, weekends meant a visit to her grandparents in central Joburg. From here, she would explore the city centre and be enthralled by the buildings surrounding her. These early memories led to a love of architecture, and when it came time for Sumaya to choose a career path, there was only one.
I'm extremely in love with Johannesburg, and I always have been. My earliest memories of childhood are spending holidays at my grandfather's stores in the CBD and walking to the Joburg City Library. And I remember the sound of the buses in the rain. I remember walking with cars hooting at me, huge amounts of people walking towards me, and I really enjoyed that feeling. It was very exciting for me to be in the city, and I still get that. My heart starts beating really fast every time I'm in Joburg.
Today, Sumaya is part of an all-woman architecture firm who is slowly but surely making their mark on an industry and profession that they all love.
Okay, so Counterspace there are three partners. It's myself, Amina Casca, and Sarah de Villiers, and we started our company when we were still or just finishing off with our master's degree in architecture. So we started out just putting on architecture exhibitions. We did pop-up interventions in the city, and then it started to become quite a serious thing. So we all had full-time day jobs, and because we kept getting work, we had to just take the plunge and become a fully fledged practice. So yeah, I think even our practice is really formed on trying to find a new design language or new design languages that are really for Joburg and for Africa. So we're very invested in trying to look for new design solutions that are not just borrowed from elsewhere, from the West or from our apartheid systems, but that actually develop from here. Because the way that people's lives are here are different. People walk around with different myths, different beliefs, different life systems, and we believe that there's huge potential in that. It's kind of design waiting to happen.
The team at Counterspace aren't just passionate about their work, but equally about contributing positively to spaces and places. They've been fortunate to work on a number of designs that are meaningful to the people who use them.
We serve children of all abilities, mainstream children, children who are very neurotypical, but we also really aim to create spaces where children with different learning abilities and different physical and mental challenges might also come and share space with mainstream learners. Counterspace has been great, and what they do for us is they work with us, they sit down with us, and we share what we're trying to do and share our vision and talk about some ideas that we have, and then they help bring those to life through conceptual renderings and then the technical drawings that go with those renderings. And then we start from there with some creative ideas and how those might be manifested in reality. So we've done that in a way with Counterspace to create exhibits that are tailored to all children.
So this is one part of a series of prototypes that we've been working on with Play Africa, and this is specifically for kids with autism or people with autism, and what it is it's a multi-sensory surface. There are different types of textures, so they are very rough and hard textures, and then there are also softer but very hard-wearing textures. So there are various dowels and circles that they can just sit and turn and play with quietly. There are also buttons where they can sit and listen to audio. Play Africa does phenomenal work with very little resources, and I think that this installation is one such example of high impact, low resource exhibit.
For Sumaya and team, things aren't always easy. They work in a male-dominated environment, but are making sure their ideas and voices are being seen and heard.
So I won't lie, it's been extremely difficult to be a woman in this profession. I think that there's a lot of embedded patriarchal systems and prejudices in this world. So often I will be in a meeting where I worked on a project and I drove the project, and I'm in a team with men, but only the men will be addressed as if it's their project. So it's something that we're still learning to navigate. I think we still face a lot of prejudice, being women, being young, being people of color, but we also really believe that those factors really give us our design sensibility and our way of looking at things, and we believe that that is central and integral to what we have to offer. But we started Counterspace because we were afraid that we'd get jaded by standard architectural practice. So it's really important for us that we find ways to keep relevant and that we are inspired by what the city has to offer.
Perhaps the best way to sum up what the ladies at Counterspace are doing would be through the words of master architect Zaha Hadid. I don't think that architecture is only about shelter, is only about a very simple enclosure. It should be able to excite you, to calm you, to make you think. I love that so many sisters are able to do what they love without compromising on their values, but more importantly, their identity. It helps when you have stylish fashionistas who inspire us with their modest fashion. Here's Street Style.
Modest way, I think it's just about being comfortable. It's about expressing yourself with fashion. It's about covering up, but also being who you are. My photography is mostly about landscapes. It's fashion. It's about everything that I enjoy seeing or places I love going to. It's about food. I often do weddings as well. So the kind of posts I share or the images I share on Instagram, I like to focus on the lifestyle within Cape Town. I love the ocean, so a lot of ocean pics coming in, and animals. My personal style, I would say it's very fun and experimental. I often try to go with the trend, but for modest way, I try to give that special twist to it. So if it's off-the-shoulder tops, I would try to style it differently, also kind of sticking to the off-the-shoulder trend. So I put on a very colorful, bold printed throw over to add a bit of pop of color. I love pop of color. And I just styled it up with denim. So denim on denim is never a bad idea at all. Style is important to me because it's a means of expressing who I am without saying too much. It shares a bit of my personality to someone I've just met along the road or something like that. Yeah. Faith is very important to me. It keeps me grounded. Just by dressing, by covering up, wearing my scarf every day, it's a reminder of me always having to do my best. It's a reminder of being nicer to people. It's a reminder that I am a Muslim. And so my style usually represents all of that, but because I'm still young, you know, sticking to the trends.
Our community faces many obstacles and challenges, and it is up to us to live our best lives and in doing so, be an example of what a Muslim is. Next up is this week's topic. South End Museum in Port Elizabeth continues to keep the memory of the once bustling neighborhood alive. The inside of the museum is adorned with images and stories of the people who once lived here, and it remains as one of the city's best places of interest.
The South End Museum is a center for memory, to showcase to people what the past has been made up of. But more importantly, and going forward, the South End Museum as a center not only of memory, but a center of heritage. We always look to the past to see how best can we craft a plan in order to effect positive and efficient change. The center also holds quite a bit of nostalgia for different groups. That types of nostalgia hold different meaning to different people.
As part of the museum's drive to keep visitors informed, there is now also a heritage walk that can be undertaken. This is an opportunity for people to get first-hand knowledge as well as experience the scars that is left of the forced removal of residents.
In conjunction with the Mandela Bay Development Agency, the South End Museum looks towards revamping the area and showcasing to people the different tangible and intangible heritage sites that are in the area. The area also marks, in terms of its physical location, the hub of the city. And if we had to look at all the heritage practices, the historical occurrences, many of them had centered or started from this particular precinct. So the space and the place and the location provides a lot of history, but also a lot of input in terms of going forward.
I want you to just use your imagination. This area here was filled with houses. You are here at one of the landmarks on the South End Museum Heritage Trail. This is a wild fig tree brought in from Australia. This tree is over 150 years old. Come on, ladies, we are going to continue with this tour from the wild fig tree, and we're now going to the Green Mosque. Okay, ladies, we are now approaching what we call the Green Mosque, built in the late 1800s in Port Elizabeth. And when everybody, including the Muslim families, were removed, government actually, like all with the Christian churches, they wanted to destroy this mosque. And we have evidence that shows with that part of the freeway hanging in mid-air and not completing its task of coming through the Green Mosque, because Muslim communities did not want to lose their mosque. And so they complained to places that were supplying oil to South Africa. And therefore the National Party stopped in trying to break down these mosques. And there is evidence where you can see that part of the freeway in mid-air.
The Nelson Mandela Bay Development Agency, which has been tasked with redeveloping the area, sees South End as an integral part of their plan.
Well, the Mandela Bay Development Agency is located in South End. We are committed to its redevelopment. We are committed to its urban regeneration. We are looking at using land owned by the city and land that we can procure to contribute towards the post-apartheid city. And if South End was a representative of the pre-apartheid city, then we wanted to be able to be representative of the post-apartheid city. And our vision is that we would look at mixed income and mixed in every way. So the blend is about sustainability, in addition to the moral imperative of overcoming our past.
This neighborhood has fond memories for those who grew up here, but with it comes the pain of being displaced. Today, they can only reminisce, and walking through the area still takes them back to a simpler time in their lives.
South End was a very vibrant suburb. We lived in harmony. There were whites amongst us, neighbors. There were Indians, there were Chinese, there were Coloureds, there was Malays, and especially in the place where I grew up. You know, when it comes to Eid, Mrs. Brooks across the road used to bake us the best chocolate cake. That's how we used to share what we had. Christmas time, my mother used to make a big pot of acne, and they used to share to all the neighbors. We used to play our sport in the street. When it was Maghrib, the Christian neighbor used to call us, "Hey, it's Maghrib, come inside." And everybody would automatically stop and go inside. That's how we respected. There was tolerance of religion. We respected each other. And we were one big family, not neighbors. It was sadness they once speak about South End, you know. And what I'd like to see is all these places, they're still standing, should be kept alive, should be looked after. You know, there's a fig tree down here, and these are landmarks that should be preserved by the authorities in charge.
South Africa's history of oppression and dispossession has left many people scarred. Places like South End Museum and the work they do becomes a safe space and gives hope to future generations that this will never occur again. There's one part of the show I always look forward to for the tips and ideas it leaves me with. We're heading to the beautiful Western Cape for this week's travel segment. Come the weekend, and the Bay Market is the place to be when visiting Hout Bay. It started out small, but has grown to be the most hip and happening place this side of the mountain.
The Bay Harbour Market is this amazing, energetic place. So this is an old fish factory that's on the edge of the Indian Ocean, beautiful Chapman's Peak over there. But it's really, we like to call it a celebration of South African culture, creativity and course. Because the food, as you can see, is one of our really amazing offerings. So it's a platform for social integration. Hout Bay is an amazingly heterogeneous social enclave. So what we try to do is to bring all these people together to celebrate life, really, in this amazing place.
The market offers entrepreneurs a place to showcase their wares, and there is something for everyone, from arts and crafts to food and entertainment. Quirky designs take center stage. Hout Bay has always been an eclectic place, and the market fits right in.
We have about 120 odd stalls, 25% of them are food, so a wonderful array of food. But then we've been very particular about our sort of fashion and craft. You can buy jewelry from 150 grand a piece down to 200 grand a piece. Fashion, the same thing. So we've hand-selected these crafters who make their own goods, whether it's fashion, whether it's jewelry, whether it's homeware, whether it's art, and this is a wonderful array.
Come early to avoid the big crowds, but also come armed with a wallet in hand and an appetite. This is a much-loved place by locals who are always welcoming of others. One of Hout Bay's most iconic landmarks is Fish on the Rocks, a family-run business that has been trading from the same location for more than 40 years.
My mother, in 1967, my mother took a shop over called Snooky's Cafe, and they specialized in smoked snook. But when we took over in '88 from her, the smoked snook side has died down, so we turned it into a fish and chip shop. And it's been hard work for the last 28 years, but successful.
Deep-fried and deliciously crumbed calamari is freshly prepared using a secret recipe that has been handed down from mother to daughter. Hake, snook and prawns are other favorites, and many a visitor left here longing back for more.
Our most popular thing is the hake and chips, but also snook people, especially from Transvaal, when they come here, they want to taste snook, so snook and chips. And then we do prawns and calamari as well. We have lots of well-known people that come here, but they just don't want to be recognized, and they just want something casual. So we give them that space to, we don't fuss over them or take pictures with them and stuff like that. We leave them to be, and that's what they enjoy coming here for, you know, just to be normal and have fish and chips out of a newspaper bag.
An afternoon spent in the company of fish and chips has got to go down as one of the pastimes any person can allude to. Hout Bay is a working harbour, and no visit is complete without a day trip. From early morning to late afternoon, people come from near and far to experience this.
Our first trip goes from 8:30. We do several trips then in the morning, and then our afternoons we do longer trips where we go from the harbour to the island, and then we also go around to the big shipwreck in Mari Bay, which is of the Bos 400, and back again, and that trip takes an hour.
As the ship casts off, passengers get comfortable and set sail to Seal Island. Experienced crew make the trip seem effortless, and soon they are at their destination.
I'd recommend anybody to come and do the trip. It's a fun activity, it's beautiful scenery, it's a great way to experience nature in its natural environment, to see the seals in their natural environments, to experience going out on a boat if you've never been out on a boat before, being out on the ocean.
The stars of the trip are undoubtedly the seals, who frolic in the ocean meters away. Visitors get to see them up close and personal, but remember to bring some good-smelling salts with, as the stench can be quite overpowering. What better way to end off another exciting episode than with the beautiful Nasheed?
Oh my Lord, my sins are like the highest mountain. My good deeds are very few, they're like a small pebble. I turn to you, my heart full of shame, my eyes full of tears. Bestow your forgiveness and mercy upon me. Ya Allah, send your peace and blessings on the final prophet and his family.